Michael Medved pulled a real fast one on me. He comes up and tells you where he differs with something I said on the show, but you don't know the trick he pulled. Prior to coming up, he said, "Dennis, we're all going to talk just 5 minutes." So I prepare a couple of notes on something else. Then he tells us how he differs and talks for 20 minutes. The truth is, what I have to say takes about 3 hours a day, and this is a hint, but I will not say it again. All right, there are a couple of things. First, let me tell you why I thought what I said this morning very quickly, why I think 2004 was more important, as important as I think this is, and I agree with everything that was said by Michael, obviously, but I still think 2004 was more significant because if John Kerry had won, we would have been defeated in Iraq. And a defeat in Iraq would have reverberated around the world in a massive, massive renaissance of Islamic terror, the likes of which we had never seen. The United States of America would have been defeated by al-Qaeda and other Islamic terrorists, and it would not end. This war would have only increased throughout your lifetime. That's why I considered that so important. That's why I cried. Some of you may have heard me. I actually cried on air the next morning, or mentioned that I cried when he won the night before. I don't know if I cried on air, actually, although I would do something like that, but nevertheless, that's why I considered it so significant. I knew the stakes vis-a-vis Iraq. That's not to say that the stakes vis-a-vis the United States of America are not enormous now. To say that that may have been even more significant in 2004 hardly says that this is not extremely significant, and of course that's why you're here, and that's why the three of us are here today. Let me just say a couple of things, and then I just want to talk to you about one theme, the theme that the Democrats talk about, the theme of change. I want to just say 2 words about 2 issues that have been bandied about a great deal in this election. One is Sarah Palin. Let me make this clear, and I echo here Daniel Henninger of the Wall Street Journal, who writes a weekly column, one of the most thoughtful columns in America. The Wall Street Journal is not known for great emotion. It's a very thoughtful editorial page, an opinion page, and I am paraphrasing Henninger and certainly citing what Dennis Prager believes, and that is that in time of real international crisis, I would rather have Sarah Palin in as President of the United States than anyone in the Democratic Party. See, she doesn't talk like the folks in the media, and they certainly set her up. I just was livid with the Charlie Gibson idea which I call the Charlie Gibson Doctrine, and that was the title of my column that week. And this notion, I wrote about my own bona fides in international relations. I was a fellow at the Columbia University School of International Affairs. I've lectured in Russia, in Russian, in Israel, in Hebrew, in France in French, and in the United States in English. I have been to 82 countries, most of them a few times, all 50 states. I didn't know what the hell the Bush Doctrine was. My friends, I would be more than happy to have Charlie Gibson and I tested on international relations. Be more than happy. It is not, however, unlike Charlie Gibson, and you know this from listening to me, I never humiliate my opponents. Never. It is a doctrine of mine not to humiliate my guests, even if I differ with them totally. That is not the doctrine of CBS, ABC, and NBC. Next, I want to deal with an issue that has arisen with people that I respect, and that is that if Barack Obama is elected, it is a wonderful thing for black youth. I have, one hears this a great deal, and there is a certain common sense nature to it. I mean, be a wonderful model, and so on. I must tell you, I consider that notion to be so contemptuous of blacks as to only be made by a liberal. Because in their heart, I believe most liberals do not have the same respect for black Americans as they do for all other Americans. I have believed this my entire life. I have believed this. With all of the doctrines and all of the comments that they make about black America, you can tell that they don't have the same belief that they could abide by the identical criteria for success, that they could succeed with the same rules as anybody else. Tell me, please, whoever says this, can you name another person of another group that would be good for the youth of that group? No, you can't. Why are blacks different in the liberal mind? Because they have contempt for them. That's why. It is the great lie of our generation that it is conservatives who have a hard time with blacks. Conservatives see blacks as fellow Americans who have a darker complexion. And that's it. I tell you that I have thought about this, and the more I think about it, the more absurd it becomes. So Barack Obama is elected, and there is some kid who hasn't studied, but who has preferred basketball or gang life in an inner city. And now he sees Barack Obama, and he says, you know, I've been wrong. I'm gonna pick up some Shakespeare, and I'm gonna look into Macbeth. I mean, what are they talking about? What in real life will happen? Nothing. Nothing. It will be feel good, but all of liberalism is about feeling good. That is all it is. It will be feel good time. Nothing will change. Nothing will change vis-a-vis African American life and the rest of American life. Nothing will change. There will be a period of euphoria, and as every psychologist can tell you, and as you know if you monitor your own moods with biofeedback, all euphoria is followed by depression. And that is exactly what will happen if Barack Obama is elected in black life. There will be euphoria for a couple of months, and then there will be depression because nothing will have changed. That is the fact. So now let me talk to you about change. This is the big word for the Democrats. I invite you to see my column up at Town Hall this evening at around midnight, and of course all day tomorrow, and stays there. I hope you'll read my columns in any event. I'm not selling you anything except my ideas. And it is about this notion of change. Why is it so important? And I have a theory. I've developed this just recently, why the left is so committed to changing America. And that is because the left has constructed an image of America that is so awful that it has to be changed. If I believed what the left believes about America, I would also want to change America. Think about it for a moment. What do they believe has happened, especially in the last years? These are the things, and just a handful of what they believe. Bush lied, people died, which is not true. It happens to be, and history will bear this out, President Bush did not lie. If he lied, so did the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, And so did the Prime Minister of Australia and so many other prime ministers and presidents who joined us. I was with John Howard, the former Prime Minister of Australia, just recently, and John Howard said, we all believed, all the Western intelligence agencies believed that Saddam Hussein was developing weapons of mass destruction. If George Bush lied, then Tony Blair lied. And if Tony Blair lied, then John Howard lied. And if John Howard lied, and then you can just go through all of the leaders who agreed with this. No, the president didn't lie, and that's a lie that he lied. But, hey, that's the bumper sticker. Bush lied, people died. Next, it is a war to enrich Vice President Dick Cheney and his friends. If I believed that, I would also want a great deal of change in America. Do you realize what a charge that is? We have asked Americans to die and to kill for Dick Cheney's friends. Do you understand what a mind can believe that? If you have such a member in your family, I can only say you have my condolences. It is not, no, I'm not kidding. It's not a normal mind that comes up with such a vile interpretation. I don't have those interpretations of liberals. I think that they're wrong, but I don't ascribe to them such heinous motives as we will make war to enrich our friends. These are vile charges that have no truth, none. There isn't a greater idealist of loving America in America than Dick Cheney of Wyoming. And they want change. They want change because, of course, the Constitution has been trampled on. This is hysteria. The Constitution has been trampled on? Exactly where? With the Patriot Act? To the LA Times, to its credit, a couple of years ago, showed the number of complaints of civil liberties being compromised in any way under the Patriot Act. In a country of 300 million, it was less than 100. And none of them were found to be substantial. What are we talking about? We don't live in the same country, the left and the rest of us. Please understand that. We don't. That's why they want to change America. We don't want to change America. That is the difference between us. They believe that racism is endemic. Racism is endemic. If Barack Obama loses, it will be because of racism. Racism is everywhere. Socialist is a code word for racism. Whatever John McCain says is racism. The New York Times editorial last week on behalf of Barack Obama for president said that the McCain campaign flirted with racism. In fact, used racism. John McCain's campaign has used racism. The man who wouldn't even bring up the legitimate issue of the Reverend Wright is being charged with racism. It's a vile charge, but hey, if you believe that, you really do want to change America. And of course they believe that Christians are on the verge of making America a theocracy. No, Christians, why do you think Sarah Palin is so loathed by the liberal elite? She is so loathed because she's a devout Christian. That is the one group in America that one can have total disdain for openly and with no rational basis. And I say this as a Jew, but I will say another thing as a Jewish American. Christians are the backbone of the United States of America. See, the problem is it's very hard to defend yourself. It's much easier to defend another. And so it's hard for Christians to get up and say, we're the backbone of America. So let this Jew tell you that's the case. I know it, and you know it, and you must preserve this. because it gives you the strength to know right from wrong. It gives you the strength to preserve the Judeo-Christian principles upon which this country was founded. This is what it is all about, by the way. This is what it is all about. Now, finally, let's talk about change. The Democrats want change. How about this? Why don't we change who governs the dysfunctional cities of America? Who has been governing the cities of America that have been so often failures for the last half century? Republicans or Democrats? Thank you. Which party decided in Congress to lower the standards for mortgage loans? Republicans or Democrats? Oh, that's right. I thought you would say that. Which party tends to dominate our universities? Yes, indeed, it's hard to almost find a Republican in any poli-sci department. They did the study, in fact, at Colorado University in Boulder. What did they? 1 in 40. I think the ratio was 40 to 1. They want the fairness doctrine for radio, but they don't want it for public universities. I have offered, though my own job would be cut in half, I have made the following offer. If you insist on 50-50 on radio, that 50% of the time that liberals, that there was political talk, it be conservative talk 50% and liberal talk 50%, fine, then you must apply it to all of our public universities as well. Otherwise, you don't care about fairness, you care about shutting up conservatives. And that's all you care about, because it's remarkable. It's not enough for you to have the universities, the high schools, the elementary schools, and the kindergartens. It is not enough for you to have movies and television. It is not enough for you to have the entire culture, for that matter. Nope, not enough. You want the one remaining area that you don't control, talk radio. And that is the reason that they want the fairness doctrine. And finally, which party is it that wants to ban Boone the Pioneer? I don't live in Denver. I don't live in Colorado. But I found the story about the University of Denver mascot, Boone the Pioneer, to be as emblematic of what the left is doing to America as any story can be. They find Boone the Pioneer. This is a cartoon character of a guy with a raccoon skin hat who's about 2'6". They find him offensive, non-inclusive. This is, I don't know if you know of the publication The Onion. It's a satirical publication. This is what you would expect in The Onion. The dean at the University of Denver said, Boone the Pioneer is not inclusive. After all, non-whites will not relate to him. Wow, isn't that something? Non-whites will not relate to. That's funny. How come non-Semites relate to Jesus? Just out of curiosity, if color of skin matters, how is it possible to have Christians of all races? I mean, do you understand the insularity of a you have to be at college to say something that stupid. I mean it sincerely. Wait, I'm not done. Also, women will not relate. Boone the Pioneer is male, so women won't relate to the University of Denver. But instead, they've chosen an animal. How am I supposed to relate to that? Right? What is this, some bird? Now, with all respect, I have a show every week. 1 hour of my radio show every week is devoted to male-female differences. But thank you. But folks, Every female human is more like a male human than any human is like a bird. So these are changes that would be effective in the United States. I conclude by saying this about their motto about change. This is the world's greatest country. And it has done more good for more people than any other country in the history of the world. It has given more people more opportunity than any country in the world. It is the most welcoming of foreigners. It is the least xenophobic country in the world. A third-generation Turk in Germany is still considered by himself and by other Germans to be a Turk. A Turk who moves to the United States and wants to be an American is regarded as an American on day one. We conservatives are charged with fearing change. I plead guilty to that charge. I don't want to change the greatest country in the world. I just want to fix what is broken here and there. But I will tell you this, they do want to change our country, and if they do, they will make it worse. That's why we have to fight. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.